thepascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? There's something I've been wanting to know for a minute now because, we've been talking about this whole Diddy trial for a minute. We've been breaking it all the way down, where defense was strong at, where they were weak at, where the prosecution was strong at, and where they were weak at. And one of the things that we talked about as far as the prosecution is the people, the witnesses that were supposed to show up. One thing is for sure. Victim number 3, we later on found out, was Gina, right? One of Diddy's many girlfriends during these times of these freak-offs, these hotel nights, whatever you want to call them. She didn't show up, right? So all of us are wondering, what the heck happened here? Why did they drop the ball on that, right? There's also the other question of why wasn't Christina Coram brought in, KK, his lieutenant, his right-hand woman, involved in all of these allegations that they were drawing up. At least that's what the feds were doing, and at least that's what the feds were presenting in the court, at least in their case. We were wondering why wasn't she brought up, right? But then there was somebody else that was supposed to be showing up to this trial, and that is Chef Jourdan. She was supposed to be in this trial and giving her scathing testimony about what she endured and what she witnessed while being Diddy's personal chef. But out of nowhere, she disappeared. She was nowhere to be found. Weird, right? But then, suddenly out of nowhere, she shows up. Now, the thing is she's been speaking out now, just recently, and I think that the reason why she's been speaking out is because people are asking, hey, you were on the docket. You were supposed to step up and speak out. And now we're starting to hear the reason why was because she was actually fearful for her life. And also on top of that, she alleges that Diddy was tampering with witnesses, y'all. Real talk, tampering with witnesses, which we already knew he was doing that. Look at Gina. Perfect example. We saw her outside in a hot Vegas day outside of a Whole Foods where TMZ just miraculously, just conveniently and coincidentally was in the same area as she was so that she can speak out and say, oh no, he's not dangerous. Yet we've seen interviews from Tasha K, etc., talking about how dangerous and how volatile he was to her, right? We talked about all that, okay? But now we're starting to hear from Chef Jourdan. And Chef Jourdan is basically saying, I am scared. I was terrified for my life. I was contacted by Diddy's own attorneys, basically saying that he was willing to pay. Let me say that again. Willing to pay for her attorneys for this specific trial, for her grand jury, for her testimony, which is absolutely crazy and very telling if you really think about it. Because now, if you think back at Jane Doe is actually still getting her rent, okay, to her $10,000 a month home paid off by Diddy. She is still on his payroll. So I could see some people asking, wait a second. Does that mean he was tampering with that situation too? But back over here on this, right? Chef Jourdan is basically saying, hey, I went through some crazy stuff. I saw some things. I endured some things. I was willing to do this grand jury testimony, but then suddenly I started seeing things happening, and now I am scared out of my mind. In fact, she also is one of the people that wrote a letter to the judge after he was acquitted of those big charges for the racketeering charges, the STing charges. 2 people. We only heard about 2 different people that actually signed or wrote letters, and that was Cassie and Deontay Nash. Now we're hearing that Chef Jourdan actually wrote a letter as well, pleading to the judge not to let this man out in between the time of his sentencing. Very, very interesting stuff, though, guys. Real talk. Very, very interesting stuff. So now we're hearing her for the very first time talking about all this stuff. She has videos. She apparently says she has voicemail of the lawyers reaching out to her. Diddy's own lawyers reaching out to her. Okay. This is a very interesting situation. So let's take a look at this article. Okay. So Diddy's former chef says she's afraid of retaliation after the verdict. And I feel like a lot of the witnesses that stepped forward and spoke out against Diddy all of them, I'm sure, are scared of what's going to happen with this sentencing. If he's really going to only be locked up for 2 years, 5 years, 20 years, whatever. Because again, he could come out. He could very well seek revenge on every single last one of these people that spoke out against him. That is definitely a concern, y'all. Definitely. So she's in fear of her safety. Now, I just want to read a little bit of this, okay? So following the verdict, Chef Jordan, who alleges she was a witness and a victim of his physical attacks during her time working for Diddy as his personal chef, okay, sent a letter. She also sent a letter to the judge asking that Diddy be denied the bail while awaiting the sentencing, okay? Which, of course, the judge ultimately agreed to because of things that the defense said, basically saying, yes, he's a violent person. He is a violent person indeed, right? So Atkins took to her social media, okay, where she put up a series of videos on Instagram, okay, as well as a copy of her subpoena, okay, and the letter that she wrote to the judge and the text message that she received from one of Diddy's lawyers saying, hey, please hit me up. Would love to talk to you about possibly representing you, that kind of thing. All of that and then some is being seen in these posts that she put on social media, which is absolutely insane. But she said underneath the videos, so before we go into the videos, this is what she said. She said, do you understand how terrifying it is to have feds show up at your door? Do you know how terrifying it is to be served with a grand jury subpoena? Do you know how insanely terrifying it is to be contacted by lawyers of the person at the center of the investigation, even before the feds schedule a meeting? How powerful is a person that can reach over the government? Dealing with witness tampering is in real time is actually insane, right? I agree. It is insane. And I can see where it's terrifying, right? I stand on everything that I have always said. Diddy attacked me in 2008 in his New Jersey estate. This was addressed on the stand by David James. His attack against me, okay, got to use these code words, has never been denied. That's true. They never said anything. They never confirmed or denied it, though. So that's interesting. I was told by his executives at that time that I would be blackballed if I told. I should have sued him then. I failed myself. When I found out about the 2009 attacks of Cassie, my life was threatened. Interesting. And I was told to keep my mouth shut. I believe that I would have been unalived if I told about Cassie's attacks, what she endured. I remained silent. I failed Cassie. The video you all saw of him attacking her was from 2016, which we already know, okay? He spent years attacking her. She's like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, baby. He was attacking her for years, which we obviously already know. And he did confirm that. Apparently he took it. Well, he had to take accountability while in court, okay, through his defense team. Yes, he's been doing these things, but that's not what we're on trial for, right? And yeah, we weren't on trial for the DV. He was on trial for the, racketeering conspiracy, the STing, and the pros, right? So multiple executives over the years that were in the same position as KK. So there's multiple people that had the same job as lieutenant to Diddy, like KK, okay, who helped cover up the crimes over the years, are a huge part of this problem. Multiple executives over the years, y'all, that were in the same position, right? So the music and entertainment business is dirty. Attacks of women, money, power, and substances are normalized. That is true. The entertainment business is definitely corrupt as hell. We are now seeing that more than ever before, for sure. Okay? Nothing about what happened throughout Diddy's reign is normal. Nothing that happened to any of us was okay. None of it was warranted. So, what if Puff is actually a good man? I hope he gets the full 20 years at the very least. But I'm not holding my breath. I'm not okay. I have not been okay. I don't feel safe. I don't know where to go from here. I stand with Cassie as I always have. I don't understand the way this case was handled. We have all been put in danger. And for what? Signed, Jordan. So now here's the thing. Yeah, I don't blame her. This is some crazy stuff indeed. Yes, I understand. And if she really did go through what she alleges that she went through from Diddy, at the hands of Diddy, I don't blame her for being scared. This is most definitely a very powerful, and we already know, a very violent man. Let's be real. We can sit here arguing all day whether or not these victims are telling the truth or not. But one thing is for sure, be rest assured, he was definitely a violent dude. He put his hands on these people, not just women, people, okay? And those people have been speaking out saying, hey, I'm absolutely terrified. This is a monster. I don't blame them for their concerns. But I'm still wanting to know, why wouldn't she just step up and speak out? It's solely because she is out of her mind scared? I mean, I get the fear, but at the same time, I don't know. There's just something I'm curious about. But let's continue on. We got to take a look at some of these videos, okay? Which, of course, she did a series of videos here, a series of video clips that we're going to take a look at right now. So let's take a look at that real quick.
Actual minor victims to Sean Combs' physical assault while I was employed by him. As someone who was a witness to the abuse towards Cassandra Ventura Fine during my time of working for Sean Combs, I would just like to say that this is a grave miscarriage of justice. And I would like to also address that last year on March 20th, I was contacted by the federal government. They showed up at my door with badges.
Dang.
I refused to speak to them because I was terrified. So I was served with a grand jury subpoena that day before they left my home in Atlanta, Georgia. I confided in 3 different people about that visit from the feds. Terrified is actually an understatement. By April 11th of 2024, I was being contacted by Sean Combs' initial lawyer, Aaron Dyer. I have a voicemail that he left and text messages stating that Mr. Combs was aware of the visit from the government and that they would like to extend to cover my legal fees. These are facts. This, in my opinion, was witness tampering.
Now, real quick before we continue on, I mean, let's be real. Yeah, mother lover, that is most definitely witness tampering. And again, remember, there are other people that are actually getting paid. All right, they are actually getting their lawyers paid for by Diddy. So again, like I said, Jane Doe, she has a lawyer. Her lawyer is being bankrolled by Diddy. Her home is still, her rent is still being paid for by Diddy right now. Now, like I said, is that, as far as him paying her rent and all that stuff, is that illegal? Hell no. It is what it is. But something about this is weird, right? Even so, look at her testimony. Her testimony was all over the place. Yes, she does talk about talks about her experience, what she went through and all that. But then at the same time, she's still calling him her teddy bear, her schnookums, right? Her lover and all that, saying that she's still in love with the dude. Now, I understand that piece. I understand Stockholm Syndrome and all that. Those things reign supreme, and those are very, very true and very, very real for people and victims out there for sure. But the thing that gives me great pause is that she instantly says, yeah, she's not lying about this fact, but she does say, without even skipping a beat, that she is getting her stuff taken care of by Diddy, that she is still being bankrolled by Diddy. So instantly, I question everything that she has to say. Because it seems like, yes, she's telling the truth, but maybe not at the same time. She's going to tell the truth, but she's also going to throw in some things to murky up the water. I don't know. It just seems a little odd to me. And it does feel like witness tampering. And I'm wondering if the feds are going to do anything about that. Let's continue.
I was supposed to testify this year on May 20th.
Oh, that's another
Submit
one.
my own letter to the judge. I stand by everything that I said. I knew that he beat Cassie Ventura fine in 2009. I know that she was dragged from the vehicle. Okay. I know that I saw her 2 days later at the London hotel when me and one of his assistants brought her a bag. Okay. This was a miscarriage of justice. And beyond any of this, I don't really have anything more to say. And I really don't know where to go from here. Just know that I am terrified and I am traumatized. And it's honestly...
Now, here's the thing, okay, because that's all the videos that they have here. And again, I'm going to put in my 2 cents here in just a second, but I do want to show you this, though, too. This is the text message that she did receive from this guy, the lawyer at the time for Diddy. His name is Aaron Dyer, and here it is, okay? Dear Chef Jordan, this is Aaron Dyer. I'm Diddy's attorney. I left you a voicemail last week, but wanted to follow up. I had been told you had been contacted by law enforcement and might want an attorney to represent you. Let me know if you want to discuss or have us help you with this. Okay? So, crazy, right? Feel free to call or text me anytime at your convenience, Aaron. This is crazy, y'all. Okay? So dealing with witness tampering was pretty terrifying. I must admit, I still have the voicemail too. Then, of course, it shows like the actual subpoena, the paperwork asking for her to come through. She was commanded to do a grand jury. Okay, she was commanded. We command you. Okay, that's crazy. We command you to show up and talk and testify and tell us what you went through. Okay, again, she says she went through some things. She saw some things. And then here, right here, as you can see right here, this is another letter, a third letter that was sent to the judge when he was sitting there going, okay, well, let me write in your letters and I'm going to make up my decision on whether or not to grant Diddy bail. And what did the prosecution do? They reached out to the victims, the people that have testified or may not have testified at the time, and said, hey, we need you guys to write letters to the judge. And that's exactly what they did. They said, please don't do this. Okay. I mean, even just starting with the top sentence of the letter. Okay. From Chef Jordan. She says, I am writing to express my grave concern over the possible release of Diddy. I believe he should be held without bail until his sentencing is determined. Again, seriously, she's saying out loud, if she was comfortable with him being out here kicking rocks, breathing in this freedom she would not be sending out a letter right now. Same thing with Deontay Nash. Same thing with Cassie. Now, here's the thing, though. I get it. There's going to be people out here wondering a whole lot of questions, having a whole lot of questions, basically saying, hey, well, why didn't she just go and testify? Maybe the fear was that profound. Maybe she was that scared. That is possible. She could have very well been that absolutely shook that she just could not fathom the idea of stepping in there and seeing this man, and also worried about the repercussions if this man gets out free. It's a gamble for every single last one of these people that go in there and speak. Let's be real. It's an absolute gamble. We all know that. They were going in there. Some of these guys were doing everything they can to tell their side of things, but then also at the end go, he was a fantastic boss. Best experience I ever had, right? Right, Diddy? We good though. Don't be mad at me. Bye. Right? A lot of that was going on, y'all. A lot of that. So again, she was just like, F it. I'm not about to go in there and give this man any compliments. I'm not about to give him backhanded, compliments while I'm dropping bombshells of my account of what I experienced and what I saw him do to other people. Because I already know he's going to try to destroy my life as soon as he gets out of that prison cell. I can see that concern. It just sucks because here's the thing. The only dig I have, okay, with all due respect, all these people, I understand the fear, okay? But she even said in her message, in her comments, what she posted underneath the videos on social media, she said she had opportunities to speak out and she didn't. And she said, I failed myself. I failed Cassie. When I saw certain things, I never spoke out at that time. I failed Cassie as well. This was an opportunity for you to scoop up that fumbled ball and run it to the end zone. And again, that didn't happen. That's unfortunate because, again, you're failing yourself again because this was an opportunity for you to actually stand up, okay? Stand on business and testify and tell your side of the story. Tell your truth. Testify. And she still didn't. Now, I'm wondering, I still wonder, would she, whatever she had to say, would that have sufficed? Would that really send it all the way home? I doubt it. But at the same time, it would be able to give her an opportunity to make things right? And she didn't do it. So that's really, really unfortunate. But like I said, guys, what say you? In my thoughts, she had opportunities. She failed. She said that. And then she had another opportunity. And it didn't happen. It's unfortunate. And I will say this. With all due respect, I get it. I get the fear. I do. I really, really do. But maybe her testimony would have been something that really would have locked him up for a little bit longer. But then again, maybe not. What are your thoughts, guys? What are your thoughts on this situation? Like I said, opportunities were had. There was a lot of other people that could have stepped forward and said something, and they didn't. The other thing, too, is, she's speaking out now, so I feel like some people might be thinking that, she was tampered with, that she was paid off. Then why would she come out and say all these things right now? If she was paid off, she would just do a Gina. No, he's cool. He's not dangerous, right? I feel like it would be blatant, but that's just me though, right? Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button. We'll be talking to you soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Talk to you guys soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.